here tonight.
AUX mode.
And he had some additional questions regarding sort of how tax increment financing works, and what effect, if any, does it have on the school's receipt of revenue. So in any case, I'll go ahead and unplug and then plug myself in.
Judy, did you have a question?
No, just about the nonprofit.
Okay.
And it sounds like Dr. Pasecki has some questions, but I know he is out of town at this point, so I would suggest that perhaps the lawyer get in touch with him afterwards.
Okay. Certainly will. Thank you. Okay. I'll run through this fairly quickly. Not seeing any taxing unit in attendance here for this evening. So cover page. This is the effective code section, which says that we have to give this annual presentation to the taxing units. Presentation, you can see it there on the screen, must include the budget, long-term plan, and impact on each of the taxing units. As I mentioned previously, already communicated here and there with Dr. Pasecki regarding the impact on the school district in particular. I'll certainly reach back out to him following the presentation, and if he has any questions. So summary of the economic development areas and TIF districts. The town has three EDAs, economic development areas, or three TIF districts. You see the establishment dates for each of those. Most recent one being established in 2022. Not coincidentally, but related to the establishment dates. The older the TIF district, generally speaking, the more revenue it brings in. So I believe EDA 1, established there in 2007, does bring in the most revenue for the town. I don't know what that exact figure is. Might be on the next slide, but that's really no surprise, because the TIF revenue brought in by the RDC is tied to the assessed value of the property. Assessed value goes up, TIF revenue goes up. A very good example of this is the city of Greenwood, which established its first TIF district, I believe in 1992, and it encompassed several hundred acres, I believe, and has been expanded over time. In any case, I think it brings in like 15 million a year in revenue for the city, roughly. So our districts aren't big enough to get that revenue, probably ever, but just goes to show you that makes a big impact. Here's a little video further explaining how this all works.
Providing an incentive to stimulate development that would not otherwise occur is why Indiana has tax increment financing. TIF districts are formed by redevelopment commissions, hoping to generate private investment, thus improving in areas of employment, infrastructure, environment, and more. While many TIF districts concentrate on revitalization of existing structures, investment in greenfield or undeveloped properties also occurs. The area's assessed value at the time a TIF district is created is the base AV. This ensures that all taxes collected on the base AV continue to be passed to the overlapping taxing units inside the TIF district. The incremental AV, which is anything above the base, is multiplied by the district's tax rate to determine TIF revenue for the area. TIF revenues are spent on a wide array of critical projects, including bricks and mortar infrastructure projects, both above and below ground, as well as game-changing facade improvements. Clean, safe streets, and recreational amenities speak volumes about a community's viability. Therefore, TIF is used to provide enhancements that will draw talent and the businesses that follow. TIF is a powerful tool for Hoosier cities, towns, and counties. With this tool comes a significant amount of transparency and oversight. All formal actions occur during a combination of public meetings and public hearings. Online reports are generated and submitted to state agencies, overlapping units, and posted online for all to see. All redevelopment commissions are required to have a non-voting member from the appropriate school district. All redevelopment commissions are required to hold in-person meetings with all impacted taxing units. To sum it up, TIF is a vital, effective, transparent economic development tool for local governments, used to promote investment that would not otherwise occur. To learn more about how Indiana communities are using TIF as a quality of place driver, visit aimindiana.org/TIF.
Okay, half of the TIF districts that we have been discussing. Some regionally funded projects, and I will say recent in my mind is now 5, 6, 7 years, because we haven't used TIF in a while, which is fine. Been on a little hiatus, so we've got some funds built up that you'll see in the next slide, next 2 slides. Long-term plan. Of course, we've discussed quality of life amenities, infrastructure improvements, roadway improvements, different connections. Some of the storm sewers is always a big one. Obviously, the area around the park, I think, is still needing some additional storm sewer. TIF money, TIF revenue can be utilized for that purpose. Long-term plan. Now, in fairness, we did use ARPA funds, or you guys have used the ARPA funds for infrastructure for the town hall. This is more broadly infrastructure throughout the town. Purchase of public safety equipment, that's a new potential purchase for RDC funds that was added in, I think, last year. And we'll get to the deck resolution 02 for amendments to our development plans here in a little bit. Here's the budget as of November 24, $667,453. Collected $91,000 in TIF revenues this year. Hopefully that number grows. It should, as development takes place within the TIF districts. You see that on that 3rd point there in the bottom left. Again, another little plug for the use of TIF funds on hand. Fancy slide. Transition there, if anyone caught it. No one cares. So we talked about this. Apparently I didn't correct this slide here, but the spending plan took out specific organizations. So Aspire Johnson County took that out, and again, this is just a highlight. So I encourage, of course, everyone in the public to look at the spending plan, as well as RDC members, which you guys did because we passed it. So effect on underlying taxing districts. This is, again, the underlying taxing district, most notably the school, the library, and the solid waste management district. Those 3, and of course there are others, but its particular effect on the school is minimal, because the school still collects a good portion of the base AV for the properties. So the town's not, I'm using air quotes, taking that revenue. In fairness, it is taking the increased AV on the property. How that affects the school district's revenue, again, it's still nominal, because the school district's revenue is no longer tied to local units, local AV. The school derives the majority of its revenue in its general fund from the state. So whatever we do here as a town doesn't affect that general revenue category. which is just like the town, is the largest category of, largest fund category for the town. And I think that's it. So, any questions on TIF revenue? How it works, what you can spend it on? Okay.
Okay, so we'll review the declaratory resolution 2024-02 for amendments to TIF districts.
Okay, and just a quick comment on this. After I pull up my notes. Okay, this is what I had mentioned earlier regarding the legislature amendments to the statute last year allows for TIF spending for police and fire protection. That includes salary, wages, equipment, vehicle purchases, etc. So what this declaratory resolution does is it broadens the RDC's ability to expend TIF revenues. It gives it another category of potential expenditures. This is it's just a simple motion and vote on this resolution. Once the resolution's adopted here by the RDC, the town council will actually make a motion itself to remember, because the RDC and town council are different units. The town council will then make a motion to forward it on to the plan commission for review. The plan commission will then approve or disapprove, submit a written order back to the RDC, which will have a public hearing on the declaratory resolution, and then the final adoption won't happen until January of next year. So it's a little bit of a process. Could have happened a little faster, but we had, of course, the holidays thrown in there, and the change to the town council meeting for December moved up due to the holiday season. So, long and short of it, it's a resolution, so it's a motion to approve and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-02.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes 4-0. And what about the timeline?
And the timeline I just went over.
Okay, with January being the next.
January 16th.
January 16th.
Which will be the RDC will vote on what's called a confirmatory resolution, essentially confirming all the actions taken previously by the RDC and by the other agencies within the town, chiefly the plan commission. So that's all I have. Unless you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Nope.
And I'm gonna go ahead and pass the documents down, because the one document's very important. So there's 3 documents that I need Ashley and Mike to sign, and 1 document that I need the other members to sign. Jackie, you need to sign that top copy right there, that's the meeting minutes.
You can make a motion to close the meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's up to the.
Do we have any other public comment? Anything else we need to discuss?
Wouldn't want a question.
Just this one, don't let me.
Yeah, and pass that one on down too.
So for the TIF funds, there's some needs I've determined moving forward. How would I go about requesting the council to approve the usage of those funds, the process, the roadmap for those funds?
Not requesting the council, requesting the RDC.
Requesting the RDC.
Okay, so that's the first I don't think the RDC had adopted any sort of, not spending plan, purchasing guide.
We
You
do
know,
not.
remember the town council has a purchasing
I know,
guide
you do.
that sets levels of purchasing power
Cause you're
essentially.
one of the
Um,
vice president of the
So, depending on the purchase you wanna make,
Oh, sorry, it was secretary.
let's say it's a, I don't know, $75,000 piece of equipment of some kind, right? I mean, that falls under the, purchasing that you'd have to have quotes go out and then come back,
So
so.
let's say $10,000.
I would say, because we haven't, the RDC, to my knowledge, has not adopted a purchasing guide. You still just have to come, you have to come and ask.
And then, so that's as town manager. My next question would be, if someone were to come approach the RDC with a petition of an idea that they had, a member of the community wanted to bring it forward to the RDC to request funding for some type of project or improvement, what would that process look like?
A private individual coming to request the use of public funds
The RDC to consider the use of public funds,
for what?
beautification project. To say, there were facade improvements on there, someone said, I'd like you to look at this facade. And then what would be the process then for the RDC to see? Would it just be on the agenda and they make the motion to award that contract?
Yes. Don't wanna overcomplicate it.
No, that's, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Alright, we'll close the public hearing and I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting or the RDC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, meeting closed at 6:05.
Alright, it is 6:05 PM, so we'll move right into the town council meeting.
Sign down here and not there. Sign here instead.
That's fine, but he's gonna put his.
I'll call to order the meeting at 6:05 PM.
You look at that. It's all this.
Jackie Bryant, Mike Peters.
Can we not open the meeting? I've gotta have this other document signed correctly. That's the document that has to be loaded.
Type your name on top there. I think it's,
Yeah. it
But
may
I
not
don't-
be.
What do you mean? I need to.
no, Mike
No, Mike.
does. Can you just type your name? Thank you.
You don't need me to sign anything.
No.
Thank you.
Taking my time.
Yes,
Football season ended, so just shutting the world
I
out.
think so.
Okay.
I think they added a drop down box.
Okay.
Christie got
Alright,
that
don't
job
go.
at the school.
What happened?
Christie got that job at
I
the
feel
school.
like I
Oh,
remember in that
good.
memo, maybe seeing.
What's she gonna be doing?
She is going to be a counselor.
Nice. You good, Donna?
I'm good.
Alright, it is 6:06 PM. I called a town council meeting, for November 3rd. We'll take, roll call. Jackie Bryant,
Present.
Mike Peters,
Here,
Ashley Cheney,
Here.
Jason Ramey, is he online?
No, he is not.
Okay, he's absent. And myself, Jessica Jones, is present. Clerk Treasurer Donna Moore,
Present.
Town Attorney Jacob
I'm here.
Bowman.
Here.
Thank you. And with that, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you would like to do so.
There's a new, okay, and that's online.
Did we move the flag?
Yeah.
That's
Is that where it's at? Cause we moved to West Point, so we'll go there.
Yeah,
over here.
looks like it's
Was
moved now.
over there, now
Alright,
it's over here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, it's on the left.
At this time, we will open for public comment. Please come to the podium, state your name and address if you'd like to speak. Anyone online, Donna,
Art Ballard is online.
for public comment right now?
No,
Okay.
he's just online.
All right, we will close public comment at this time. For council review, the October cash change drawer. Any comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Utility billing report for council review. Any comment? All right, we will move on. We have town council special meeting minutes from September 26th, that need approval. I will make a motion to accept those meeting minutes for September 26th.
I second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Town council meeting minutes from October 17th, 2024.
I make a motion that we accept the town council meeting for October 17th, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving on to Clerk Treasurer Donna Moore.
We have the APB general for approval in the amount of $186,908.93.
I will make a motion to approve the APV general in the amount of $186,908.93.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
We have the APB water in the amount of $78,937.10.
I make a motion that we accept the APV water in the amount of $78,937.10.
I will second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
And we have the APB wastewater in the amount of $103,039.96.
Jackie, do it. You do it. I make a motion that we accept the APV wastewater in the amount of $103, or $103,039.96.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have some riprap for ditch work, with some bid openings. Jacob, do I have to do this any certain way or just open?
Open and read aloud.
Okay.
And
Bid-
read the name of the contractor and
Sure.
read the bid amount.
Bid number 1 being opened. This is for Lucas Earthworks in the amount of $53,130. I'll pass to the council to see.
I'm almost laughing because it's a game show. It's not
I know.
And this is to fill the ditches that we had cleaned out and put riprap in, along 135 and then down Ryan Street.
Next is for BR Enterprise in the amount of $52,500. Final bid. Is for Extra Development LLC in the amount of $64,000. And they all look to have a little bit different in their,
Yeah.
and I'll just ask one more time to kind of clarify. I know we determined that this area is town property to fix. And are we sure this is the solution that's gonna fix what's happening over there? To spend this much money on something and,
I believe it is. We paid all that money to get it cleaned out. We need to keep it clean.
Can I comment too on that?
if you wanna come up and,
Oh, okay.
yep.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to comment. Yeah, you got those bids for that? Or, my name's David Moore. I live at 104 North Red Gold Drive, Trafalgar. You've taken the bids on that. You've had it cleaned out. And I've seen and I'm sure everybody else has, projects along the roadways and things like that. When they do that, the appropriate thing to do is then put down your ground barrier and your riprap, and then it's pretty much maintenance free, besides occasionally maybe spraying for weeds that might pop up in there. But it will look a lot nicer right there, because that is kind of a main area coming through and going
That's
through town.
true,
It
yeah.
will look really nice.
Thank
That's
you,
all I have to
David.
say.
It's, I'm not familiar with it, so I will entrust the council to make a recommendation for the council.
So just to clarify your obligations, you received 3.
Uh-huh.
You have to pick the lowest responsible and responsive bidder or reject all bids. Those are your only options.
Okay. So the lowest was BR Enterprise at 52.5.
Yeah, this was 53,130.
And they have the 1,600 feet by 20 feet, so it looks to be a little
That's
bit
done,
more.
Yeah, that's more. That's more.
Approximately 900 tons of, and that's all it says. It doesn't.
Riprap. Yeah, it's riprap. Like this one's 693 tons.
Okay, so it's the riprap, that's the 900 tons. So it even looks to have,
21,200 square feet of 8-inch thick
this doesn't give that detail.
riprap. Yeah, this one is really detailed.
Riprap would be more than an 1/8 of an inch thick, wouldn't it? Riprap's big.
It's 8 inches.
How many?
It's 8 inches thick.
Oh, okay, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, so the council would have to go with this estimate or reject them all.
20 foot, 1,600 square feet. So they didn't spell it out, 900 tons of rip, I'm assuming that's riprap number can be adjusted if measurements need to be changed upon request. So it's 1,600 square foot, so it's from the intersection all the way down Ryan
Yeah.
to, what is that, Cross Street there? Ah, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I think this would be all right.
That's all it's being,
Huh?
that's all it's being.
Yeah. I make a motion that we accept BR Enterprises for the riprap, job in the amount of $52,500.
To be paid from what fund?
Pardon me?
From
What
which
fund?
fund?
From wastewater,
And what
No,
the
stormwater.
You want, yeah,
stormwater.
That would be my
I'm sorry, yeah.
yeah.
alright, motion was made to pay BR Enterprise $52,500 from the, stormwater fund.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Next is, a correction.
Can you make sure that I get the bids back? Yeah.
Correction to the 2024 salary, we, had oversight of removal of the utility technician for level 2. So we do need to prorate Jeff Stuckey's pay back to November 4th. And then, it's also a correction to the ordinance itself, right? Yeah, okay. I'll make a motion to prorate Jeff Stuckey's pay rate back to November 4th.
First you're gonna have to
Oh, do the,
motion to approve the ordinance, and then you can motion to
retro.
retro the pay.
Okay. I will make the motion to approve ordinance 2024
You have,
011.
you have to make the motion to.
On first read.
Approve on first read.
I make the motion that we approve the ordinance 2024-011, salary correction to utility level technician 2, and salary connection to utility clerk, that, for ordinance approved at first meeting,
First read.
I'll second.
first read.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Now we need a motion to waive the rules for second read. So I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And then a motion to approve on final read for ordinance 2024-011.
Aye. Second.
Motion it.
Oh, I got a motion.
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion that we accept ordinance 2024-011, 2004 salary correction, on second read. Is that right?
On final read.
Final read.
Okay.
Final read, I'm
Motion's
sorry.
made. I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Now will be the correction for, I will make the motion to prorate Jeff Stuckey's pay rate back to November 4th. Do you need that amount listed, Donna?
You don't have to.
Okay. Motion's made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Next on our docket is the IPEP healthcare renewal. Donna, do you wanna?
Do you wanna discuss, Brian and I had a Zoom meeting today with, AIM Medical. So there's some things we wanna actually kind of go over with the AIM policies. Right now, we're very limited because we have to renew this policy by December the 31st. Our current, policy through IPEP, we're locked into the rate for a year, but we're not locked into, continuing the policy
Right.
for a year. So, go ahead and Brian, you can kind of,
I wish Don
Give-
would run with it, but I'll give you a break.
you can go ahead and kind of go over some of the AIM, information that we have.
And without
that
trying to
we
persuade
received.
anyone one way or the other, just to share facts of how the meeting went today. AIM communicated with us that they're seeing many municipalities leave IPEP right now because of the substantial increase. It has been substantial. That works in our favor to consider them, not saying they are the chosen, but to consider their service because they did share with us alone that just as of recent, 7 municipalities out of the state, and there were 34, 37, 7 have recently joined them from IPEP. So where that will come into play is, it is basically funded through a network of municipalities, and the more that join, the better the rate.
Right.
That tells me that IPEP is
Losing.
likely going to see increases because they're losing customers. That tells me also AIM is seeing an increase in customers, and likely the rates could stabilize or lower possibly.
Right.
That
That's why
being
they-
said, it leads it, I'm sorry, Jessica, did you?
And that's why the quotes are held till 11/21.
So that leads us into the one moment of caution I had early in the conversation this morning was, if we were to seek AIM, we are obligated to sign a 3-year contract initially, no option. So we have to commit for 3 years. They did justify the 3-year commitment to say that that is how they stabilize their funding, so they're not taking customers in, losing customers. That gives them somewhat of a rate to work within. Once the 3 years is fulfilled, it's then on a 12-month contract after 3 years. So currently, we're not obligated to anything. We can leave at any time within a 30-day notice. We would be signing into a 3-year term. To me, though, something to consider is if we are seeing what we feel and believe through the meeting, I believe, Donnie, you agree, would be AIM is seeing an increase in their customer base. They also specialize in municipalities. That was a major factor this time because we received the notification of increase once the budget was approved. So now we're playing catch up behind the ball. AIM submits their cost at the time of budget hearings. We would have this already factored in ahead of time. That helps us immensely administratively, makes us much more efficient. So not advocating one way or another, just sharing facts. And then that's the cost to the town, we should say. For me, I'm here to care about the people who report to me on the daily. That was my major concern. In that, I believe we're getting exactly the same coverage at a decreased rate of a tune of 14 to 16,000 roughly
Yeah.
just in
I
healthcare.
wrote down $16,446
In
for the
savings.
comparable
If
policy.
we go with AIM,
With AIM. That's your savings, just in the
Right,
health,
but-
that's not factoring dental and vision.
Right.
if we have to sign into a 3-year contract, what's our percentage increase for the next 2
You
years?
don't know.
You don't know, but they did say they're guardrails, so whatever the increase may be,
Put it this way, IPEP went up 15% this year.
What was their percentage, Brian, that he gave us, that they have gone up, over the past few years?
0 to 5.
Right.
0 to 5%.
Percent.
Were there increases? I actually,
Yeah.
so I can actually show you right here. I do have it. Just to give you a reference, now that's telling you the best. There were 2 years we saw 14% increases with their policies. One of those was 2019. Something just to consider. But once again, bouncing back to coverage for employees, the employee benefit appears to be the exact same. The only increase we could find going like for like was a $400 increase for maximum out of pocket. Is that correct? So
So-
that would be the only trade-off to our employees, is they would see a $400 increase.
Per individual or individual, and then there's a difference for family. That was for,
It was
just for
family only, individual
Okay.
stayed the same. So the blue line, and I'm sorry, this isn't in better form. The blue line is your average trend. The orange is what AIM has seen historically from 2010 to 2025, and just to go backwards. 2025, they're showing 0% increase. 2024, 4.1. 2023, 5.5. 2022, just to sell it a little bit, they went down 4.7.
Is it a HSA plan?
It's an
Yes.
HSA plan as well, yes. So that's good. We're not impacting our employees.
And then is this, outside of Edinburgh Insurance, I would assume, or do they offer this plan? Cause typically, isn't that who you go?
I didn't hear your question.
Outside of Edinburgh Insurance.
This is outside of Edinburgh Insurance?
Well, IPEP is not,
Right, but they usually were that communication and,
well, Edinburgh, what happened back when we switched over to IPEP, Kevin Parks was the one that kinda came in and found that IPEP policy and recommended that we go with that policy because, and you've been on the council for a long time, that, those small group policies was almost non-existent.
Right.
So he couldn't find one of the small group policies, so he was the one that kind of recommended that, IPEP had this large network and a lot of municipalities were going with those types of networks.
yeah, I remember him bringing the IPEP, I just didn't know if there was any effect on our other insurances that we hold with Edinburgh, you know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, okay, those are all separate. I mean, we have like our liability policies that Kevin writes through, like Tokyo Marine.
Right.
So
They're all
this is
separate.
totally
Okay.
separate, yeah.
Great.
And to that be said, with the graph, they said there are guardrails. Your increase will not be any more than 2% above their average, or any less than 2% below their average. They've set guardrails for increases and decreases.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, as long as they're offering some, same coverage details, it's not gonna be like a major shift in, providers and uprupting employees and their families. I think any insurance is gonna have it every year. They're gonna have an increase. It's part of.
And he did provide a link that I can send out, because I did ask that question. I said, is there a way that the employees can check, to make sure that their current providers,
Are still in
are there?
network,
So
yeah.
I do have the link that I can send out to
Yeah.
everybody.
That would be my biggest concern, because sometimes when you have programs like that,
Right.
it'll shock you with what's not in network.
Well, and you just wanna make sure that your providers are part of providers anymore, are. So, and it was gonna be, he said even if we went with them now, it would take them 60 days to get us ready. So,
So even if we renew iPad now, we can cancel at any time, so we could cross over to.
Cancel within 30-day notice,
right,
correct?
so,
Yeah.
and, so even if you renewed now for for January 1, 2025, and then we go ahead and go with the, AIM policy, then the AIM policy, by the time, like I said, it would take them 60 days. So we're talking around March 1st.
Okay. Let's, so you do need to renew on iPad no matter what then?
Right, because
Okay.
we have to renew
Right.
that policy by December 30th.
I would make a motion to approve iPad healthcare renewal as presented from iPad.
Second that one.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And then, Brian, will you get those quotes, how long if you want, will you make sure they're up to the same and everything?
I am very sorry.
For AIM.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, Brian, I'll go ahead and send that link out to the employees.
Yeah.
And then that way they can check and make sure that their providers, are listed in that network.
Yeah, and then just let us know if anyone has any major concerns about seeing. We have a proposed 2025 salary ordinance. And this was, Donna, do you mind saying how much the increase across the board was?
This was presented to me by Jacob and Brian, so,
Brian, do you wanna speak to?
I can speak to the increases.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
So increases alone were the only factors that were submitted by myself. I will find them.
Do you have the ordinance in front of you?
Yes. Sorry, I had to change hats. Let me get caught up. Here's the one. Okay, so the two that I had submitted, just high level here, 5% for the police department and 5% to the clerk treasurer. Just like I said, high level of, to summarize this. To speak to the police department, we're seeing, last year we saw inflation at between 7 and 11%. And our raise last year, I believe, was 4. Was it 4 last year, Charles?
4.5, I thought.
So thinking of that here, and I've interviewed our officers to hear their needs. And so that was with thought to somewhat playing catch up, if you will. And I think we're still playing catch up, just to be honest with you. It's not catch up that started 12 months ago. It's not catch up that started 2 years ago. It started a long time ago. I had an officer tell me that when he signed up to serve here on the police department, the marshal or the chief at the time came to his house with his parents, and he shook his hand, and that's how he took his job here. And I think it started then, that over time, and it's no one's fault. It's nothing to blame. It's nothing wrong. I think it's just the right thing to do to make strides for improvement and change as we can. So that's why 5%, I feel as if maybe last year it may not have been enough to even keep up with inflation. That maybe it was even a loss last year overall. So that's my driving force to advocate for the 5% for the police department overall. That being said, the 5% did not transfer into the longevity pay. The longevity pay will stay the same. This is just simply for salary raises, because the salaries are what put food on their tables. And the other driving factor here, to where I feel like there's probably still some work to do, is we're blessed to live in Johnson County, but Johnson County is not a really affordable place to live. And it's we're losing affordability by the day, and our officers want to live where they serve. And I just feel like this is the right thing to do to try to help them in that way. So that's what I'll give you on the police department. The next, Donna, I'm going to talk about you a little bit. I advocated 5% to the clerk treasurer position, because just in my time here, and I hope it decreases, Donna, I hope your workload decreases with my phone calls and emails. I have inundated Donna with work that she did not have prior to me starting here. Aside from that, we're making great strides in improvement in process. A lot of teamwork, a lot of time spent with Zoom calls. We've had this our second one. Well, we had an in-person meeting last week, a Zoom call this week. A lot more of that happening, a lot of collaboration. Personnel, as we try to work with our personnel, onboarding new employees, handling that, new vehicles. There's a lot of changes to come in our next 5 years, and I feel as if it's very justified. Donna has never left me unattended. I've never left an email unread. I've never let a phone call go unanswered at any time of the day. So I know I've done it. I did it last month, Donna. Thank you. You've been immensely helpful. So to that being said, those were my purposes for submitting 5% to the council.
I assume because we haven't really hired employee for water, we'll probably, which, I don't know what the other council members are thinking, but I really would like to get to performance-based raises. Obviously, we'll keep the annual increase for our employees, but we also need to move towards performance-based raises as well. So hopefully maybe in the first quarter, we can even look again at performance-based raises throughout the year. So I'm okay with this. I'm comfortable making a motion. I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2024-012 for the 2025 salary ordinance.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. And Donna, you wouldn't qualify for performance-based, so we would have to just make sure we keep that in mind if next year inflation and everything. Jessica, yeah.
Redo the motion.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Bear in mind that this was the first read copy, right? So any changes that you want to make them in your motion when you approve on first read, for example. Here, I'll give you what we want you to do. The motion would be motion to approve on salary ordinance, ordinance number 2024-012, 2025 salary ordinance, adopting as presented with the, passing on first read as presented with the exception of cleaning up the longevity pay for officers, only to make it more clear, not to change the actual bonus. If you read it on page
to my moment here in a moment, but as someone who's 5 weeks into this role, driving a ship to come and ask you for raises, it is lofty to come out of the gate right. So thank you for that, because I know it's budgets, I know it's numbers, I know we try to stay within our percentages and our budgets and our spending, but these are their livelihoods. So I take it very seriously, so just thank you. I'm sorry? Sorry. It's done. Quotes are done. Oh, is it time? Let's switch hats, give me just a moment.
While Brian gets prepared, you want me to say something real quick? Adopted among business matters, number 9 here on the agenda. As you know, in the RDC meeting, the RDC approved or adopted a resolution amending the development plans for the TIF district as declaratory resolution 2024-02 amendments to the TIF district. What I need from the town council is a motion and specifically motion to approve RDC resolution 2024-02 amending the development plans for the TIF allocation areas number 1, number 2, and number 3, and to forward the resolution to the plan commission.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed 4-0.
Hello everyone, it's me again. All right, once again, 5 weeks in. I know last time we met, I think it was a day into the job. So I told you thank you. I still thank you. I'm excited to get up and come into work every day. I work long hours because I can't get enough. It's also needed, but I thoroughly enjoy this job, and I thank you again for letting me be here. So to jump into some of these options, a lot has happened. I know you didn't want to read the long list I had, so I tried to shorten it up into summarized versions of what's going on. So obviously the Dollar General, we're just about there. So I think we're probably going to wrap it up in the next couple of weeks. It is, they applied for a variance, and that went through the Board of Zoning Appeals process to reduce the number of spaces. With consideration, I don't know, we knew it'd be a popular store. I don't think any of us, even, including the management, including the district managers, they didn't expect what it was. It's a very well-ran organization over there, and it's due to their manager on staff. Their employee retention shows it. So it's a wonderful thing, but yeah, I agree. Looking back, if we would have known, but you don't know what you don't know. So, but that is, there was a bit of it, because they were trying to fit within the parcel as well. So it is designed, but they did request a variance for a decrease in spaces. So ideally it would have, but I think the original number was like 86 or something. It was excessive. We did rewrite the parking space ordinance after that to try to accommodate and also just expedite the process in the future. But that being said, I think we need to pause. I need to pause. Plan Commission needs to pause. BZA needs to pause in the future and really think. And I don't think it's an issue, but really think about how it can best serve the community. So we're about there. Been working with the contractors on those final punch list items that have been holding that C of O up. We do have the $60,000 bond. If they fail to deliver on any of that, we can start fining them accordingly. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're well on our way. They texted me about an hour ago that they're wrapping it up, so we're going to get there. Technology upgrades specifically. So technology upgrades were part of the ARPA funds, and that was on page 32 back here. Kind of made this pie chart to help me keep track and also try to illustrate where we're at on our spending. So technology upgrades, we were getting $15,000. That was for the upgrade of computers. We've done that.
There's only one computer remaining, which needed to be coordinated very carefully with Judy's billing systems and processes. That's taking place tomorrow. After tomorrow, we will be at 100% of what we originally purchased through Roadrunner Computers. I want to take a moment to thank Roadrunner Computers, Michael Belden, who is here. He's been immensely helpful. There were some moments in the transition that he fielded some phone calls, and he responded quickly. And we're very fortunate to have Michael with us, supporting our needs in that way and being so local and close. So, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Roadrunner Computers. So we're there. There's a little bit of money remaining, the $3,184. That's with the intent to purchase iPads for the council. We're going to keep moving in that direction, more than likely. So there we are. Staffing. So since we've met, I took Chester to his going away lunch on his last day and wished him well. We've wrapped that up. We were fortunate to receive over 20, maybe 25 applicants for the position. Interviewed a few. We made an offer to Jeff Stuckey, and Jeff has been immensely helpful in his short time here. Jeff has pulled out some things at the 11th hour, including today. We had a part that was failed on a piece of equipment that was needed today. If you went outside, you know which one it is. It's the salt spreader, and that part was ordered to be overnighted. It did not get overnighted by the supplier. It was sent regular mail. It arrived at noon, and the truck was on the streets spreading salt by 3. So Jeff's very helpful. I've given Jeff, as of now, we're gonna move into his role a little bit more. And Jessica, what you mentioned on the salaries, we're probably gonna revise the salary ordinance coming up. In the utility department alone, there are $3 jumps per position, 1, 2, and 3. With the absence of a superintendent, there may be something more like team lead pay, things like that, and maybe ranges instead of set $3 increments. But just initially, if you see, I've noticed Jeff has been given ownership of Town Hall and the park. So if you see the park, if it looks good, it's Jeff. If you see Town Hall, you see the mums that didn't die, Jeff keeps them watered. Jeff has pulled the weeds. Jeff has trimmed the rose bushes. I wanted them pulled. He promised he could trim them back. So he's pruned everything to grow in the spring. Don't let it scare you if you see everything just cut way back. It's pruned correctly. So we're well on our way. He does. So Jeff is a CEO holder. To that point, another comment on Jeff, I'll talk him up and I'll probably just share this video with him tomorrow. Jeff came in, Jeff moved from Pennsylvania. He arrived with a Pennsylvania driver's license and a CDL. And then we mentioned to him about it'd be really helpful if he had that. We told him that the date of his interview, when we extended the offer to him, 1 week after Jeff started with us, he showed up with his license, and he had retaken his Indiana CDL, passed, and had his CDL as well.
That's impressive.
Yes. So we're very fortunate to have Jeff with us, and we're working closely to find how to make the role best fit for him. And he's promised me he's going to stay for a long time. So he is downtown Trafalgar. Yes, yes. So invest in the community, lives in the community, sees it, passionate about it. He shared with me that his hopes are that maybe his family would want to move here. So that's the way I see it, right? Because if I do my job well, others want to live here too, and Jeff feels invested as well. So that's where we are. On to Jacob. Jacob took his water certification test, and he barely, and I mean barely, missed it by 2 points. It sounds like it's unheard of to pass on the first time, and she said even to come within 2 points is unheard of. And I was made aware through Scott Blackwell with Princess Lakes that there is an appeal process. So I called and spoke with Marianne at IDEM, and she said that he can come in there and he may appeal his scores to see if there's any room for improvement on any of his 1 answers. So he gets an opportunity to do that next Wednesday. I've scheduled that for him to go in at 10 a.m. downtown Indianapolis, 12th floor IDEM, to sit with Marianne to reassess his scores to see if he can make up those 2 points. If he fails to do so, I've also worked with Ivy Tech to schedule his retest at that same time. So he gets a chance to even retake his test. 1 fell swoop. So, level 2. share anything with me, feel free.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, if he's gonna get water certified, we should really do something to get him to the next level, or if you're gonna change those or bring that next month to make it, yeah, I agree.
We need to build in a lot of incentives, and I don't even want to call them incentives, just to reward others for
Yeah, but
their
not only
efforts.
that, but that's going to fully allow us to move away from someone giving the water certificates for the license, so that it also saves the town money, so we can put that back into our employees, making that difference.
I agree. I agree. Public Works Utilities. So, week one, there's no good way to put it. We had a pump down, and it had been out, and it was at the repair shop, and no one had actually initiated the repair. We were able to get that expedited, and I believe within about 10 days, we had the pump repaired and placed back in the RAS pit. And the RAS pit is a very important part of the wastewater treatment plant. It is now fully operational with a rebuilt pump. We're back online. So, that was a big one. The riprap project, obviously, we communicated well, went out, I offered some scope of work to the contractors to give them like for like bidding rights. Okay, you talked about water certifications, wastewater certifications. Currently looking into our options there for how we can best support Jacob and others who are out there, and will hopefully add to us to get them trained. We were lucky to have Lori come out with Curry. Lee Rogers made a site visit for us to walk through the plant and bring the guys up to speed, let them know what's what and what's where. And we found some things that needed improvement. We've moved forward since then. So we're working closely on just seeing how I can best support these employees. Community engagement, I'm sure if many of you have probably seen or even taken a part in for some of you. There's been multiple ribbon cuttings recently. That's something that, it's a small effort on our part. It's a small time commitment on mine. It is greatly appreciated by those business owners. Those are big monumental moments for them. It just makes them really feel like the community cares. So it's well received and appreciated. So I want to share that with you all and those of you who have joined me at ribbon cuttings. And then Jackie joined me at there's two things going on right now. There's two projects. There's a business owner convention, if you will, that doesn't have a name yet. All business owners in Trafalgar are meeting. The idea is to meet once a month to connect. They're going to be who help us pull off our park days, our festivals, our parades in the future. We're forming those groups to help us with the heavy lifting, because we're only one people at a time, right? So through their staff, their companies, and their customers, if you will, that will help us with the heavy lifting. Aside from that, another one that initiated last week is Dave Egger and the director of Johnson County Public Library here in Trafalgar. We're meeting to put together a history project for Trafalgar. We're going to start capturing audio recordings of some of our senior residents and let them share their stories. We're going to collect some pictures from them, get those recorded as well. The library has offered to let us utilize their display cases to display photos, artifacts, whatever that may be. So we're going to kick that off after the holiday season and try to make that a little project here, because what we're hearing is Trafalgar doesn't have an identity. We're associated with Indian Creek schools. Trafalgar doesn't have an identity. And we're hoping maybe through seeking of the history project and outreach to residents, we find our identity. So I'm excited to do this. I hope I find the time, because I'm passionate about it. Very busy, but it's very important as well. So we're here. So Mike, an update for you. It's in here in infrastructure, but it all falls under the ARPA. We've awarded the parking lot project, expansion project. Our second bid came in. I even had to call and ask if the bid was correct. So versus our first bid. So our second bid was very competitive. It freed up a lot of funds, which also created a problem. We have a lot of money to spend. So that's good. Good problem to have. Short time to do it. Corson has come out and quoted us for the badge readers for the exterior doors and the second vestibule as well. It'll be on the panel system for permitted badge access with a key fob. There's that. What else did Corson have? Oh, and the The first visitor, he did. One service, one badge reader system is based off of a cell phone through Bluetooth for each individual operator, which could get messy, especially as this isn't about today. It's about 10, 20 years from now. Where does that phone go? Who gets the phone? Where do we keep the phone? So that system may not be the best use for us. The Corson system, Corson's obviously been around a long time. So we're eyeing that one right now. The other thing that's been done is the town vehicle has been purchased. If you pull in the parking lot, is the white Ford Explorer out there. That is a retired police vehicle from Morgan County Sheriff's Department. We got it for a steal. We also got a bargain on a trade-in. So we had a truck at the plant that we were paying insurance on that wasn't being used, that wasn't running. We were able to get it running in the 11th hour again by putting a radiator in the truck about 2 hours before they came to pick it up. I think, Dave, you were here that day. I came in with antifreeze all over the front of me. We got the radiator put in it, and they drove it to Morgan County. So they gave us a really great competitive trade-in on that vehicle. It was Morgan County.
Okay, I was gonna say.
It's actually further than that where it's for sale.
You'll be calling Donna, what the hell?
No, it was through a dealer. But the dealer was actually fantastic to work with, so I'd like to mention them as well. They were phenomenal. They brought the vehicle to us, and they picked our trade up and drove it back to Spencer, Indiana. So that was great. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to.
I swear, every time I hear an update from you, you're like in the hole and doing, I'm like, I thought office manager in the office.
It also, it also the day before, the tire had a hole in it, would not hold air. Tire was $340, so I called into Columbus. They had a used tire for $37 or $42, cash only. And I called Donna once again, took my phone call in the last moment, and I said, Donna, what do I do? And I said, I don't want to get in trouble. She said, you can pay cash and just file for reimbursement. And I pulled $40 out of my pocket. I handed it to Jeff, and I sent him to Columbus. So I haven't filed reimbursement yet. Not yet. So when you see that Explorer out there, it's here with love. So a love and a bargain.
I think 8 o'clock at night, wasn't it?
It was.
It was close to 8 when you called me and you were at AutoZone
Setting up a tax exempt account.
trying to get a new radiator.
We had to set up a tax exempt account to buy a radiator to put in the truck, which we did at 7 a.m. It was just fine, and they're happy to have the vehicle.
You know, it's funny, just hearing the things that you accomplished in the short time that you've been, granted, I know you were doing things on the building side and you pitched in a lot in different areas, but this is all stuff, and I really hope that people in Chicago see this. This is all stuff that would get on the council's agenda for people that work other jobs full-time, that only have so much time to try to come in here and do as much as we can for our whole community. And and it just makes me so happy to know that this was the right decision to move forward for our community, for the townspeople. I hope they realize the work that you're doing and how, I'd love to help as much as I could, but we do this as a not volunteer, we do get paid for it. But, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, and I know, we appreciate all of the town employees that work so hard for us, but
Thank you.
it's just, it almost brings me to tears to think about it, about how,
We care.
yeah,
We care.
how much of a difference that
As a team. As a team. And I say that, I said it yesterday in a meeting, I said it last week in a meeting. We're getting ready to build something great. Now, Trafalgar's always been great, but we're getting ready to build something real great on a really solid foundation. And that's what we're setting right now. So be patient with me. It's gonna take some time, but we're building our foundation right now. I think 2025 is gonna be an incredible year for Trafalgar. We're real close. We're real close. So that all being said, and hopefully I move into not making long updates like this. It's just my first month. I just want to express my thankfulness, honestly, and cover a lot of things. But yeah, so like I said, just happy to be here, happy to do it. I also hope that by handling some of the heavy lifting, the council can enjoy your roles and do the things that you're here to do and not have to field the incoming needs, right? I'm happy to be here to help do that. And thank you all, because you all have also helped me divide and conquer as well. So The old school building, I got a little bit of chatter this week. It got a new roof on the gymnasium. We're still working weekly together to try to assist him as we can through the processes of proper permitting and whatever projects he chooses to seek. But we field a lot of questions. His intentions are to hopefully find some way to preserve that building. So seeing a new roof go on the gymnasium was a great, I thought it was a great start. It shows us intent, so I was happy to see it. Okay, so if you have been through Spring Lake or live in Spring Lake, one thing, we went out to go inspect a street drain. Some of them are starting to cave in, so there's work in the process. The weather is really impacting that right now. So we're gonna get to them really soon. If you see them or hear about it, it is in the works. There's some cones by some of the bad ones. We are getting to them. I had a friend who was giving away a bunch of block that goes under those for bracing. He called me, said, come get it. So I sent Jeff with the dump truck. We picked up a couple pallets worth. Cost us nothing. So we're good there. Okay, so I'll jump into the other things here. I had a question. There's a lot of old furniture here in Town Hall, taking up a lot of space. There's nothing maybe currently in this room, but let's say there are some old bookcases sitting in the downstairs area. There's a lot of things like that we're storing. It's in the way. It's creating a bit of an issue. I asked Carmen Young with Whiteland what she did to get rid of things, because we need a process, and if it's not through an auction process, we talked about it through the vehicle, Donna. Carmen said she asked her counsel for approval to say if it's under the value of $500 or whatever amount you would like to set, would you give me authority to dispose of things that are disposable with mindfulness to documents, computers, but just old desks that are broken, falling apart, missing legs, chairs which are broken, getting rid of those items. Okay. Okay. And just to that point, she said they set the $500. If it's less than 500, it's just destroyed. Absolutely. So that's why I wanted to bring it up and ask. So there's that one. In the event that we choose to do so, we're going to need a 40-yard dumpster at the plant, ideally, because there's a lot of things out there that need to go that are legitimate trash. So we would be lining up a 40-yard dumpster for this disposal of trash items, and then probably a 20-yard dumpster through OmniSource for recyclables, which I assume we would get some money out of those the scrap metal out there. We could make those deposits back into there. So if I need approval, I'd just like to run it by the council to get the dumpsters for trash and scrap metal as we try to just move into building that foundation and cleaning things up. Another item, I'll jump into the big one here on my list. I'd like to, I might actually wait for Mike to come back in the room. An easy one. With the money left, I'll jump back here to page 32 with the graphs. Technology upgrades were accounted for when we talked about them. They were for computer upgrades specifically, which are done, and iPads. I'm currently seeing maybe some room for improvement on audio-visual equipment. I think we're having a little bit of audio issues here. I wouldn't mind saying if maybe we can need to include that into town hall general upgrades, is the way we titled that. I don't think there's any issue with doing so. If we are to take that ARPA bucket of the town hall upgrades, if you all would be okay if you see expenses come through, because the technology was specifically for computers and iPads. Beyond that, it would be for town hall upgrades. So I think I just want to make sure it would be okay if. Yes. They're not returnable at this time. These microphones. I think something hardwired might be the right direction to go.
The ones that we have, not returnable. so you're saying they need to be
replaced.
replaced. So what happens to these?
We would store them.
And how much do we pay for these?
Around 100, was 100 and something per, I mean, there's money in them, but they're not working.
Is this something that maybe, okay, cause I know you discussed with me last night about like the different type of desk up here,
Yes.
some new chairs in here. So is this something that maybe, I know we'd like to spend the ARP money, but maybe once we get the room set up,
Mm-hmm.
then try to figure out the best solution to possibly even using these mics if the room was set up differently. Because if the desk was like, not the round shape, but
Just
more
straight.
like a horseshoe,
Mm-hmm.
that might better. Right, so,
Pause. The only issue is we're 40 days away from signing contracts. I have 40 days to spend over $100,000. So we're scrambling. We're working together. Charles stepped in, Judy's in, we're all stepped in. Well, so that being said, parking lot's done, badge readers done, chairs were ordered today. There's new chairs. These are falling apart. So we bought the same chairs, different color with black frames. We have a quote coming in tomorrow for a new desk for all of you, which will have an elevated front. It's a nice look, and it's one continuous desk without the legs down there. So that all made sense. Carpeting, possibly paint, lighting. So this is going to be year over year, upgrading all fluorescent fixtures to LED. These consume 1.4 amps per. The LED fixtures consume 0.3. So that's going to pay dividends year over year. It's important to me because the officers say it's important to them when they work nights. Absolutely is on my radar. I know that the chairs and things like the parking lots are heavy hitters, but I don't think it's going to take much. But if we have funds left over, that's definitely a focus of mine, is getting that break room up and running. I just want to run the technology. I didn't want to get electronic upgrades intermingled with technology upgrades because it was labeled technology, but it was actually for those specific items. So we'll stay in communication. So we're okay to keep moving forward with all those. The mold remediation, there is $1,880.35 done. I think that came through an email that needs to move out. So they had appropriated or allocated $21,000 for the mold remediation of the building, and only $19,119 was spent. So we need to put that $1,880 in a different bucket. Done. It's all finished.
Yeah, well, I know, that's what I was thinking, was something else that could help, you know what I mean, like, the air conditioner, I don't know.
Possibly. I don't know if it'd fall within the budget. 31st of December. Under contract or spent. 40 days. If it would do it, possibly. The garage door was factored in at one time with the remediation company, right? There is an opening.
Say you do that 1,880,
Without a special meeting. Would a wall built to remove humidity from entering the building from the police garage factor into mold prevention? It was a contributor to the mold. Could that argument be made? Well, 1880 probably won't do it to pay a contractor to build a wall with a door, but we can consume it and then make up the rest of it with the framing of the wall for town hall upgrades. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. Let's try this. If it's to keep mold from returning, because it was a factor, it was noted by the remediation company. If we have $2,000 and the cost is $2,500, are we okay to pay the additional out of general fund if we go over through quotes? Correct. Being mindful of that. Is that a thought? Consume it all, even if it goes slightly over, and then pay the additional, not without going crazy. Is that maybe a cleaner way to deal with it? Make sure it's directly associated. They get creative.
Yeah, so we could be creative in the sense that it's for the mold and also for the town hall.
And it was documented that it was a contributor.
Yeah. So as long as we have that documentation, so for town hall.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
That couldn't fall within the town, the base of the town hall? Yeah, the issue is that we use that balance that's left over. Oh, okay, so you need that 103 balance there.
Oh, I get you. I misunderstood.
It's okay.
I'm okay.
With which one? We just pitched two.
With you have your ARPA fund, say you appropriated for X purpose, in X amount, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers that we advertise in the most other things are just simple estimates. Really.
Yes.
I mean, we do the best job of what we think. It's reasonable if you have $1,000 left over in revenue to say, oh, we'll just add that to the town hall.
Okay.
I don't know if it's possible.
Okay.
It's just simply not possible to appropriate money
To the dollar.
to the dollar.
Okay, that's helpful. So that's helpful. I'll move on from that. That'll probably take us to the next conversation. And Donna, that I don't want to put you out there if you want to discuss the mold document.
Documents. I an email from Midwest Fruits, and those documents are supposed to be finished, he's hoping, by the end of the year. That being said, it was $10,000 that was appropriated for that, but I talked to Brian about it, and I said, did I really wanna reach out to them and ask them to sign a contract for $10,000 when originally they said that, I think it was 4,300 or 4,900 that they gave me the estimate for. So you don't really want someone signing a contract saying, yeah, it's gonna cost $10,000 when it might not cost over, too much over the 4,900.
And you're probably not expecting the invoice until after the first 3 years, so.
Right.
Is it possible to cut it down to the 4,500 we might be expecting and then move what's left?
Into
Well,
the,
if I don't get an invoice by December 31st, that's the problem here. So, say for instance, he got the documents ready and they got shipped back to us, and without the holidays and everything, say if he got it shipped back, we probably won't get an
So-
invoice
Maybe
until
we
after
move
the
that
first
and
of the
then
year.
just pay for that out of budget.
and then we'd have to have a hearing,
Yeah.
and then I have ideas for the 10,000. We'd probably create another bucket, a new bucket. I have thoughts there.
Yeah, I really think that could be beneficial somewhere else.
We have to have a full another public hearing to create another, none of your ideas for that 10,000 that could fall in one of these buckets?
It's document preservation.
Well, I'm saying that your ideas for what you could use that for, would it fall?
We could roll it in a town hall. I mean, we're coming on 40 days. we could roll it in town hall. What I haven't gotten to yet is wastewater treatment plant needs a lot of shelving, organization, storage, tools. We could use it there. We need storage and tools here as well.
Because I probably won't get that in place until after the first reading.
So then Jacob and Donna, how do we need to move this 10,000 into town hall general upgrades? Through a hearing? It was appropriated to document preservation. Is that okay?
Yeah, 'cause it was still,
Still a shelving.
Yeah, it's shelving storage cabinets, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Do we have an answer on the disposal yet? Okay. Less than 1,000 may be sold at public or private sale. And then if it's determined that it's not worth the process, then it's junk. So that being said, to add to this, let's say, go ahead. If it was worth $900, I'm probably not going to throw it away. I'll just disclose that openly. So that'd be up to the council. If you want to set lower parameters than the 1,000, I'm completely okay with it. I would have no intentions of throwing something away that would be even near $1,000. To add to that, what I'm also hearing, because Donna and I discussed this with the vehicle, I know specifically we have a broken weed eater at the wastewater treatment plant. That's junk. But what if a resident of town sees value in buying that weed eater for $25 and they're willing to pick it up at town hall? Is that something we want to get involved in? Is there an official process for that, official paperwork? Donna, don't get scared. I won't create I promise if it's too much work, we won't do it. Because your time's going to factor into what it's worth. Sale. Okay. So if we're gonna do that in the future, we'll adopt a resolution of process. Until then, let's just take care of the trash and move on. Okay. Yeah, I saw you get scared. I gave you that 5%. Okay. Does the council want to set the amount less than 1,000 for me? Okay. Trust my judgment. Well, I won't disappoint you, I promise. Huh? We're right here in town. Okay. The last big item, Mike, I want to make sure you're in here for is I would like to ask the council, as I did about 8 to 10 months ago, if there's any interest in the conversation of the old church on Tower Street. And I asked the council if I could get approval to seek 2 appraisals on some property previously. Nothing came of that. I think to commit to 2 was aggressive. 2 is required if we were to purchase a property. I would like to ask the council if you would be okay to approve me to move forward with ordering 1 appraisal on the property to see where the value comes in at. That being said, I want to be very mindful of what I don't know is how we would fund it if it did look like it was within our parameters to purchase for a community center. And that building is talked about a lot. There may. Spade, parks, community space. I mean, it sounds like that'd be something to be very grant possible. I worry about losing out on opportunity. I don't want to overpay for something because we're just in a rush. But the opportunity is only going to last so long, and I feel like it's still sitting there for a reason. For us, is what I'm kind of alluding to. A lot of residents here in town look for spaces to have their birthday parties, look for spaces to have poker night, look for spaces to have there's no Rotary here, there's no Red Hat Society here, we don't have a space for it. There's interest, but we can't even loan out town hall. So we have the building alone. It's not with the intent to move town hall. I wouldn't pitch that right now. Just to own the building. And it's on 3 acres. It's on 3 acres for even if we lock the building and don't open it and mow the grass, it's 3 acres of usable festival space for Trafalgar. And festivals and events are what we crave. And we don't have the space for it without begging and borrowing from someone else. So I see huge value add in it. I'm sorry to sales pitch it to you. I would just like to ask if there was, I've talked with the listing agent and the church. They would love to see the town acquire it. They would be willing to work with us, pending the appraisal is reasonable, that whatever it shook down at, we could probably work something out, is what they've said. Just 1.
I make a motion that we approve Ryan to go ahead and get an appraisal on the property for the church
On Tower Street.
on Tower Street.
I'm sorry, Ashley. It's Pleasant. I'm sorry. Actually, yeah, it does. Pleasant. Build it out. Pave a drive to Tower Street, potentially. And then I think if we see that it's a real possibility, because what we learned previously with the old appraisals that we ordered earlier this year, we found out there really wasn't any reason to dream. But if we find out there's a good reason to dream with this property, I think then we try to find out, Don, we have to work really closely together on this, because I love to dream. We got to make sure we can afford it. Got to make sure we can fund it. We do have invested funds, so that can be a huge player. We have our TIF funds. The TIFs, I think, can contribute, because that space will contribute to our TIF districts, especially being connected by sidewalks.
So, the town council voted that.
know, but I thought,
You're thinking of school special levies that you see on that.
okay, well, it's not the same for the town.
They probably had a public hearing.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they probably had a public hearing and then, yeah.
For another,
Yeah.
And we're gonna start seeing our revenue come in, which we haven't seen yet from all the new bills. So we're gonna see all that tax revenue start coming in, is it next year? We're gonna start seeing an increase in the,
What, 5 years, maybe?
yes,
um,
true, true.
yeah, that's why we create TIF districts. So we take away from
Shame.
the way it works.
What we're through by Squire, Art and I both have been checking on grants. Susie, is there anything out there available to acquire land? Not. Not right now. And I mean, this was in the last week.
Right.
Or two, you know, because we've both been working. We're not having meetings, but we do talk about what we'd like to see or do, you know. When we have enough information, we will have a meeting. But, yeah, we've been looking for that in the stores for parks or anything like that. Right now, she's all good, nothing up there.
I think they.
I'm not gonna say they won't be in a month.
Right.
I mean, it's subject to change.
Sure.
I don't wanna bust the bubble, 'cause it's
No.
a great idea.
So not right now.
Main Street grants down too, because all inflation.
Yeah.
We've got our,
New sheriff in town all the way around.
I met with NDOT this week, couple topics to that. I asked them what they felt like the climate may be like for community crossing grants. They're hopeful that, that it's seen that it's so beneficial to communities. If nothing else, I think small communities may prevail over larger communities.
Not, like, it's actually Jamie, my son, is meeting with Senator Vaughn. This week's Friday morning donut. But he's going to have a conversation about council that he gets to select a role, and Jamie's trying to hit him before he's actually gets there. But anyways, maybe we can, add to that conversation.
World House. Yeah. And to the NDOT conversation, I know it was a popular conversation last week about some intersections, as we all know. Now, we do know we're probably likely gonna do the stoplight project. We're gonna start that 2025 at Casey's. Well, we're gonna have to be involved. We're more than likely gonna have to acquire some land through eminent domain-ish process for the footprint of the light. We'll have to talk about it. But that being said, for intersections like the one out here that gets popular, it's not the popular opinion of the community. NDOT did communicate that something like that would be looked at. If it's determined to be a hot spot, they'll put it on the list. It's then lined up in engineering for 5 years, and then it would be 3 to 5 after that we would see construction.
I'm curious if when they do their surveys, if they do it multiple times a day, different times that they go out. 7:45. Yeah, they need to come early and at rush hour in the afternoon, because I know for years they've done a report down there and they said there's not enough traffic. So if you go through there at 7 in the morning, they'll show you
Which one?
The way that's done,
on
it's put on the road,
135 there.
it's put out on the road and it's locked in little, looks like them little gas station lines running across the road. And it's a traffic counter, they put it out there for a set period of time.
Yeah.
And if the traffic's not there, they don't have it. At all, I mean, you and I both, I mean, if you go over by any Creek School, I don't wanna interrupt, you go over there, 7:45 to 8:05, or some time out. But,
That's what he's referring to. There was people
yeah, but I'm just saying that
talking on
it has to do with what there's a specifications that they use. We can ask for it, they can do a study on it.
Which we
But
did.
if that study don't come back with the numbers that they require,
Yes.
it won't happen.
Which I did that in January,
Yeah.
and they came out in April.
Right.
And we missed the number for the stoplight at Casey's by
It was minimal.
minimal. They're coming back in April 2025. Because it was so minimal, he said it's happening in 2026.
Let me know, and I'll go out there and just drive up down the street.
I'll put it on the agenda, we won't say what to do.
Well,
Yeah.
keep it on the down low, but just put it down there, hey, they'll be out here and it's onion traffic, convoy, baby.
That being said, I think I will add to this, I don't wanna speak too much on it. I know we all hate seeing more empty buildings in Trafalgar, and Dollar General left a big empty hole in our hearts. I have been contacted by a future tenant, and there's something in the works, and it's good, it'll be a good addition to the community. I don't know.
Just to give an update on the town hall, the town hall will be paid off through 2030. About $42,000 a year is what the payment is. Thank you.
2030, so 5 more years and 42,000 a year.
In case nobody knows, when they bought this, they paid for it.
Yeah, ridiculous. The beginning balance on this building was $920,000. Yeah,
Oh, they all retired, look, we're in on that one.
Yeah, they ran out to the council after what you said.
Let's keep that in mind when we seek our appraisal in the future.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're just not getting, Christmas set up and running, but do they have anything else to put up the Christmas decorations, and do they even know where they're at?
I left it out, it's on the list. Good news.
I've seen the lights,
Yes. Well, the only decoration we have is a wreath. I've heard,
supposedly there was like 10 grand spent on Christmas decorations for the town.
from what I gather, I believe if you say, and I don't know the value, the dollar figure, it was allocated. I don't think the purchase was ever made.
It was.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, it was. The only thing we bought was the big wreath.
So,
Well, I mean, that was a start.
I know, David.
so after tonight's meeting, the fall Thanksgiving decorations out front will go away, and we, Pressure Doctor, huge honorable mention. I emailed them this week, and I said, shameless request. Would you be willing to donate lights to Town Hall? And they said, pick your color. So I believe they said after Thanksgiving, they'll be here. They're gonna light Town Hall with white Christmas lights professionally. The wreath will go up. It's a start.
So, that's nice. Since we
Yes.
have, town hall improvement budget, so maybe you could throw in some of the street lights on that. You know what I'm talking about, the little fuzzy lights that they put in,
Talking about wreath, lights.
yeah, I like these, you know what I'm talking about.
And if not, if they hang on light poles, they're large.
To make it more festive looking.
That was always brought up, and Reed Rogers always said that we could not attach anything to those light poles. Now, the reason Barbersville does that is because Barbersville owns their light.
Whiteland does it, Raven,
They own the light pole.
Maybe we put poles up, we can put them on.
Barbersville owns their light company. Barbersville does, but Franklin does it, and Whiteland does it.
I will research this.
Yeah, they own the light pole.
I will research a solution to what you're after, because I think it'd be wonderful.
I could probably get all the REMC poles okay.
Let's work together.
The good poles, I'm not sure.
Let's work together.
Franklin owns our light poles and we don't.
We never did because we didn't, back in the day, we didn't have the money to do it. We just needed street lights for us, and when we paid for the street lights, we're paying that extra cost for all that.
Yeah, we did.
Kind of rent, some goes on the floor, we're not the problem. Because the town didn't really have the money. I mean, the town, there was no town here.
That goes on, we don't gotta deal with it?
No, we own
I was gonna say, there's no way.
all the poles.
Like Spring Lake subdivision.
The metal
Right.
lights.
Those were put up by that subdivision.
The metal ones,
Right, and
Yeah.
now we
Yes.
pay for them and took them away.
We only pay the light bill. We don't own that street light. for instance, like, it was one of those poles at Spring Lake, not in Spring Lake.
That's what, I think we've got, we over a whole camera over there.
I will look into this.
If I don't hit that light pole in my addition, it's gonna go on the town, not on the HOAS road.
I'll get an answer for you.
The HOA has to.
I'll get an answer for you on that, and that
Because we're paying good price on those light poles, and
for the light.
Franklin has the same split of occupancy, and that would be, yeah, that's almost.
I'll get an answer for you. And that being said, we probably can't pull it off in time for this Christmas season, but the thoughts were, the RDC, I did see that Christmas lights were listed in what we've used them for previously. I may approach the RDC next month to ask about Christmas lights for next year. And I picture a train, the light up train out front, because, this, we used to have the train track that ran through Trafalgar.
Because it's important for us, and that's something that's always been missing, right, is that community aspect. I mean, had we stayed up a couple years ago for like 2 years straight.
Not this year. Yes, sir. Absolutely, yes, by their interest, yes. In the RDC funds and the associated with the TIF districts is if we're able to do it on 135, that adds that beautification to that corridor. So the RDC funds can tie directly if this can't do it right now, and I say next month, but by next Christmas, I would like to look into that and execute the purchase of Christmas decorations.
I'm just saying, if you got 10 grand of AARP, let us know, we'll be there.
You have no idea how hard it is to responsibly spend the money you have given me.
I mean, Christmas decorations are responsible.
Yeah.
Competitive
You know, get one of
quotes.
those LED light up trees, put it in front.
Competitive quotes.
Once we put the lights on the town hall, then they were doing it free this year. So he said, then
Sound like I
next
should have paid
year-
for 'em.
Then next year, it would be like, we would be required.
Yeah.
But then I brought this up to Brian, I said, then you contact another company, and you ask them if they will donate the lights.
Maybe we own them this year. So, look forward to seeing it. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm excited, and
I get to look out my window and see it.
and I really appreciate them doing that for this community. I want to make sure they know that.
We'll do it in. Let's get him like thank you.
Yes.
And if you need us to sign it, just
Okay.
let me know and I can get it all.
The other thing we didn't touch on, I'm sorry, I've taken up your whole night. Are we okay with the purchase of gift cards for
Oh, yeah.
town employees, excluding myself?
You shouldn't need our approval because.
I want the
Yeah.
council to be involved in the decision.
Yeah, I would just, so previously we do the social custody if there was a regarding cookie or ham or just combine enough for that one person.
Do you want to be involved in signatures of cards or anything like that?
I do.
Okay. 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 Then I will get that together. I will get with you each individually and get those cards signed by you individually. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Last year I was late on police week, I felt so bad.
Brian, how many employees are we talking about? So we need to know what the spending limit is.
I missed that first sentence, I'm sorry.
How many employees do we think that this is gonna involve? I mean, is it just gonna be full-time employees or?
You're gonna put me on the spot, Donna. I'd give you one for all your help. I'm gonna exclude myself.
Okay,
Do you wanna be included?
so, I mean, are we talking about?
I consider Donna a full-time employee.
Are we talking about 18?
No,
for the
ma'am.
police
No,
department,
ma'am.
or
Have we hired
just-
Fernandez? I would like to include 4 police officers.
Okay.
I'm sorry? Yes. I'd like to do 5 police officers. Forward, Fernandez. 6. I would like to do 6 police officers. 6. Not full-time. Our reserves.
But that doesn't seem quite fair. So if you're picking and choosing who you're putting into?
They can be mad at me. I'll take full responsibility.
I'm just saying that that's not fair, because you have 4 full-time police officers, but you're picking up 2 others from
I don't disagree with you.
some, I mean, I
I get
disagree.
this.
I quit in a heartbeat, how they do that to me.
No, it also depends on how often you work, right? If you're a person that comes in here and works one shift, cause I work at the hospital here,
Right, but
I don't get the holiday
I've
stuff.
worked part-time jobs as well, and they give it across the board, it doesn't matter.
Johnson Memorial, you know?
I would call it discretionary bonus.
I'm still going to stay here.
They also don't bonus you.
No, I'm
Now,
still not.
once that full-time employee, yourself, I think we're gonna get that, he or she.
Okay. Yes, it does. Do you need numbers and names, or do you want to just say discretionary?
No, we just needed to know, like, I mean, for spending.
And I say full-time, we're going to include part-time as well for
You're
Judy.
gonna include all the
Judy.
part-time.
No, I'm sorry,
Oh,
for
oh,
Judy.
Okay, gotcha, yeah, full-time, part-time that works, okay, gotcha. Which is the way it should be done,
Okay.
so,
So I want to be careful saying full-time because Judy's
Right.
part-time. Judy absolutely is included.
right, so, because, yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure because of the spending limits on the Visa cards to go purchase the cards. We just wanted to make sure that we had plenty.
They won't be $200 gift cards. I'm sorry. Tell your officers I'm sorry. It'll be responsible spending. So, and like I said, I'll connect with each of you to sign this. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure your limit on your Visa card to purchase cards would be, was okay.
I won't let you down. Thank you for all of your evening.
We'll make this quick.
You know, you can start making him do your bidding when you're now too.
Do my bidding?
You know?
Yeah. Thank you. Radiators. They're fixing a few water leaks. Changing some lights, tires, whatever. First thing I have, the new Tahoe is down at Move Over Outfitters. Turnaround time's probably gonna be 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully we'll have it back by the end of the year. That way we don't need sorry? It'll be ready to go. Yes, and we should have it back by the next meeting, so we don't need an appropriation for the funds to pay for the lights.
I will have to have, I kind of need to know before the meeting on the
Okay.
12th, because I'm gonna have to.
Oh,
do
it's the
a-
12th. Okay.
I'm gonna have to do a resolution to move money,
Okay.
because currently in your police capital line, you have $1. So, in order to fund that vehicle, I need to move money from your category 2 probably. Well, I mean, how much is that vehicle gonna cost?
The lights?
Yeah,
I thought it was somewhere around 15.
15,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're.
I will call down there and get a,
Enabling,
I will call down there and get
right.
an invoice.
So, yeah, I mean, because I'm gonna have to move some funds from possibly category 1, 2, 3 in order to fund that vehicle.
Did we talk about where we were gonna take it from when I approached the board about purchasing the lights?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. Well, what I will do is I will call down there tomorrow and see if you can't get us a solid invoice.
If I can get kind of a number, then that way, December 12th, then I can have the resolution
Okay.
where I'm moving funds into that category, because there was $5,006 moved there from that
Right.
$45,000 additional appropriation to balance that line.
Okay. I will get you an invoice, very, very soon, and then, we'll figure something out. Okay, Officer Jackson is going to the academy, January 6th to the 25th. So it'll be, Lee and I running around full-time with a bunch of reserves and paid part-time, helping out, assisting. And what we don't, get covered, then I will do my best to work, cover. We have some that work 1 or 2 days, yes, that. Yeah. Right. As far as the paid part, like Clint Abbott, he's said he's gonna work out of the first of the year. Come off of sick leave. Yeah. One just had a baby, and so hopefully they'll. Right. Right.
Oh, new hat. Disagree or help me out here. We've actually had a discussion around that. He actually has labeled officers recently based on who does and doesn't work and if you can call them or not, just to kind of clean that list up.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we spoke about trying to find a way to increase that pool of officers. But facts are facts. It's hard to attract officers at the rate we're paying. There's a lot of competition out there right now for part-time work. So,
Well,
One of the big problems is in this town, because of the term policy, can't hire anybody over 45 years old, you can full-time.
he's talking about the retirement, the 77.
You can't even hire, you could, you know, it's what you need, is older officers, you have older officers retired, you can't hire them.
No, you're fine. Permanent, part-time? Depending on the criteria that you have, we have officers who are set to work part-time. As far as finding someone who basically has a set schedule for part-time. I can put an ad out there and see what we come up with, but you know, it's hard to find police officers to come down here to work with what we pay. The school, yeah. We can look into it, maybe find somebody who's recently retired or something and still wants to do it full-time. Okay, we can look into that. We have been educating people on the golf cart ordinances. I sent an email, put it on Facebook. We do have a copy of the ordinances that I told my officers to pass out to them if they see somebody on the road that doesn't have their permit up to date. So we're trying to educate people before we start doing that, writing tickets for that. The parking ordinances, they're getting better. People parking on the road are less and less, in my opinion. So we've been writing tickets and warning tickets for that as well. On the streets, you can't park on the streets from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's their ditch, yeah. Halloween, what we did, we had a park day, and we purchased bags and treats for the kids when we was gonna have park day, but that got postponed. So we took those bags, and we put candy in it. Brian and Judy helped out, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But our officers who worked at night, they handed the bags out to the kiddies, and we also gave them a bunch of candy also to hand out to them as well. Inside those bags were there were candy, water bottles, stickers, slap bracelets, tattoos, other things that kids like and enjoy. So hit each other with it, whatever. So that's all I have. I would like to really thank you guys for approving the salary ordinance and giving us our raises. The department appreciates it. I appreciate it. We appreciate everything you guys do tremendously to help us out. I know we praised Brian, but he's done a phenomenal job. His heart's in the right place. It's in the town. It's in the community. It's in the employees. It's everywhere in this community. And you guys did a great job hiring him. I'm not just saying that, but you guys did a great job to hire him. He's easy to work with. We work well together. We always come out with something positive. So, you guys have anything for me? Huh? I know you do, and I appreciate it. I really do, and the department does. Yep. And I appreciate that. No, I'm watching traffic and stopping traffic and everything else, and I catch as you going by, and I'll throw my hand up as you're already going down the road. So, but yeah, the department, the employees do appreciate you guys. We thank you very much. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. So. Well, thank you. Same here. So. Thank you.
Everybody to look at your calendar, make sure that you're going to be in town, available,
Was it the $100?
No, it's the check, I believe it was to William Spirit.
Probably for more than a Thanksgiving dinner.
So I'm sure, Bill will probably give you that gift.
But I
card.
won't enjoy it. Totally.
Bill will give you the gift card when he gets the check.
I'll have to talk to him about that, cause I missed that one for the last
Right.
2 years.
Oh, did you? Well, maybe I can send Bill an email and tell him that he's forgetting the gift card.
And then it won't be. You do a great job,
I make a motion to,
Hold on. You make a motion to allow for the additional 20 minutes of public comment.
yes, any public comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's David Moore. I live at 104 Red Gold Drive, Trafalgar, Indiana. And what I'd like to say is, last year, the cost of living raise that they give to the police department was higher than what the cost of living raise actually was. This year here, you're giving them 5%, and that's double what the cost of living, according to the federal government, is gonna go up in 2025. Now, I can't help it if we get these spikes in foods and things like this over the years. That's not nobody's fault. But I do know at one time this police department didn't have cars to drive, wasn't making any wages, and I worked on that for 8 years. And I do know now, if anybody does any kind of research whatsoever, they are in comparison with pay with other towns our size. Now, we're not in comparison with Columbus, we're not compared with Indianapolis. If they want to make that kind of money, don't let the door hit them in the butt crossing the county line. But now, that being said, on top of that, there's nothing wrong with receiving longevity pay. $100 a year, $500 maximum. That's kind of, if you, like I say, you can check that. That's kind of the norm. Not the thousands of dollars that they received this year. That's taxpayers' wasted money, and it's totally unacceptable. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice turkey day.
I do wanna say one thing, their salaries are comparable at this point. And we also made the effort last year that they, employees, including the police department, is paying 5% of their insurance benefits. If we move forward, which is the plan this year, to go to a evaluation-based raise, right? And we would only use that raise to be considered thereafter select population raise, right?
Where's that going?
Are you talking about?
The longevity bonus that they received a few months ago.
Yeah.
Totally off the chart.
We're also looking at that too, but we're trying to make it to where we're not gonna lose officers that are on home, right? 'Cause
These
Allison-
officers down here do nothing compared to what the officers in Indianapolis do. Up there, just drive through Indianapolis and you can hear the gunshots going off. This job down here for a police officer is the biggest gravy train there ever was. Hands down. These small towns like this, I mean, I don't even wanna hear it. You know, when was the last time we had a robbery in this town?
Well, don't say that, you're gonna jinx it. Knock on the wood.
No, I'm knocking on wood. I mean, when was the last time we had any kind of thing? You know,
had a robbery. What, was it a few months ago?
2 years ago, and it was solved in 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you get a robbery around here, there's so many cameras in this town, there's no way to get out of it.
You gotta give grace where grace is due and just acknowledge that our officers need to be received, right? But I know we look at it, because I was like that too, 4 years ago.
I know what they do, because I've been here before and I've actually been out here. So, I mean, I know.
Well, you gotta think
How many
too,
times has anyone on this town council ever done a ride-along?
I'm not gonna do it on Thanksgiving.
I mean, you don't have to go, well, like I said, you do it right along with this town right here, you love to fall asleep. I'm just telling you, you know, what are you gonna be scared of? Wait, you know,
Well, I don't ever wanna be, especially after a couple years ago, I respect.
I respect the officers. I've got no disrespect.
Right.
But for a police officer in these smaller towns like this, that's
biggest grading change job there ever was. Go, hey, compare to, even Edinburgh. Edinburgh had more going on than we do.
Because they keep us safe.
Keep us safe, there's nothing to do here.
Okay, but,
The
Alright,
sidewalk
that's
closed.
enough.
alright, God forbid there ever came a day that something did go wrong, save everyone.
Hell, they'd be off duty and not show up. I mean, that's like our holidays around here. You got election day for a paid holiday, all the police are off. Charles works all this, he worked the holiday for election day. He worked 16 hours, whatever, I mean, see him out here all the time running, right? Nobody else got it. That cost us he made triple time and possibly a half for that day, triple time. He got holiday
He
pay.
doesn't get paid,
He got paid, wait a minute, he got paid holiday pay for that day, he got paid for the hours he worked that day, and he got an additional day off. That's triple time. Any way you figure it, that's triple time. And if you got over his hours, if you went over on his hours that week, then he made time and a half. So, he could have made triple time and a half that day. I don't guarantee he made triple time, guaranteed. And he's the one that sucks it up all the time, he never passes